1-to-1. It's not like you should take 3,000 times as much as the mouse had.
We're 3,000 times bigger than a mouse is.
Right, right. It's not just proportional. It's actually more related to our surface area and how much the drug can get into our bodies versus the mouse. And the calculation for a mouse, which is called the allometric scaling, is about 12. So you multiply it, let's say, if the mouse has 100 milligrams, 1.2 grams for a human. For a rat, it's 3. For a mini pig, it's 1-to-1. Turns out we have about the same surface area as a mini pig.
And so you take about a gram of resveratrol every day?
I do, and I've been taking that since about 2004. And but like I said, you can't just put it in water and drink it.
You got to add some fat to it.
Yeah, so I typically have some yogurt, a couple of spoonfuls, not a lot, because I'm trying to fast until dinner. But I could mix it with olive oil. Olive oil recently, as we mentioned earlier in a previous episode, seems to be really good for activating sirtuins, but also you can dissolve resveratrol in it.
So you get a twofer.
You do. I don't have a lot of it. There's a lot of calories in olive oil. I don't want to break the fast severely. But, mix it with a bit of vinegar and basil leaves, and it doesn't taste too bad.
Okay. So resveratrol, you're taking about a gram a day in the morning. Also in the morning, you take NMN.
I do. And there you don't have to worry about food. It's dissolved easily. You can put it in water or swallow it, put it under your tongue. And so I do that. That's my main combo in the morning.
How much NMN are you taking in the morning?
Again, it's a gram, but that's not a guess. That's actually based on the human studies that we've done that show that a gram over 10 days raises your NAD levels about twofold.
And that's sort of the dosing amount that we're seeing in a lot of the human studies now, both the past studies and the current studies that are ongoing.
I take 1 gram of NMN every morning, along with my resveratrol. The reason is, in humans, we know that doubles NAD levels, which is important because someone my age has half the levels of NAD than I did when I was 20. But you can go as high as 2 grams and triple the amount. It's important to mention that I take these at a certain time of day based on science as well. I take these in the morning because that's when the natural rise in NAD and SIRT1 activity should happen. And we actually know this, that the SIRT1 NAD cycle is part of our body's natural 24-hour clock. SIRT1 regulates a protein called BMAL that controls the genes that tell us whether it's night or day, should we be hungry or not, whether we have jet lag or not. And I do find, anecdotally, that NMN is remarkably good at preventing jet lag as well. I can reset my body's clock ostensibly through this SIRT1 BMAL pathway.
You're also taking metformin?
Yes.
How much? When?
I take 800 milligrams at night.
Okay. And you take that at night because?
Well, because doctors tell me that it's a good time to simulate a fast. I take it with my dinner just after, and then through the night, I'm presumably having low levels of glucose, and my body has all the benefits of stimulating those repair pathways, those survival genes.
And that's the most recent thing that you've added to your regimen?
It is. Actually, what happened was I had terrible blood biochemistry. I was eating badly. I gained weight. I wasn't sleeping. I was stressed. And those numbers just went through the roof. And I said, I got to do something. So I went on NMN, and things were somewhat rectified. And then I added metformin, and they really got back to my optimal.
We mentioned earlier some concerns about exercise and metformin. Your practices where that's concerned?
Yeah, I pulse metformin. It doesn't sit well in my stomach anyway, so on days where I know next day I'm going to exercise and lift weights, I might skip metformin that night before.
And then there's also spermidine.
There is. You can buy it now. It's there's a company that makes it in pure form, very low levels of gluten. And just the last few months, I've added that to my protocol, and we'll have to see how my numbers look on Inside Tracker.
Okay, so that's not something you've adopted, and you're like, I'm definitely sticking with it. I'm adopted, and I'm testing it out to see how it works.
I am, and I advise that company. It's the first supplement company I am advising. And I did that because I wanted to look at the human clinical trials, and they look really promising as well.
How much of that are you taking?
A gram as well.
Okay. You are also periodically taking fisetin, quercetin aimed at senescent cells.
There are clinical trials being run out of the Mayo Clinic for fisetin and for quercetin. These are high doses. They're typically 2 grams taken 1 day a week for a matter of months. I'm on a maintenance dose. I take about half a gram of each every day.
Let's take this morning through night just really quickly. Resveratrol, 1 gram.
In the morning with yogurt or olive oil.
NMN as well.
A gram, yep.
Fisetin and quercetin.
Half a gram in the yogurt.
Spermidine.
Definitely spermidine, yeah, in the morning, about a gram.
And then in the evenings, if you're not working out the next day, metformin, how much?
800 milligrams.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. Now, you're not most people. A lot of other people are going to be different. You don't advise people, but it might be a good place for people to start their conversation with their doctor, though, yeah?
Well, I think so. Most doctors are open to looking at, say, inside tracker data and hearing about the latest science. It's very difficult for them to keep up with it. It's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast in the first place.
So, David, this has been a really comprehensive conversation. Even still, we could have gone deeper on any one of these drugs or supplements. Maybe we'll do that in future episodes, in a future season of Lifespan Podcast. But what we're trying to do today is really give people an opportunity to really start thinking about whether this might be something that they want to bring into their lives, and if so, how. Of course, again, in consultation with their physician.
And monitoring. This is important. You don't know if you're doing good or harm to your body unless you measure it, particularly your liver. You can measure what's called AST, ALT. I do that routinely just to make sure nothing's going wrong in that regard.
Our next episode is?
Things that are not supplements. Things, maybe you could regard them as being on more of the cutting edge. Things like testosterone, growth hormone, exosomes, peptides. We're going to dive deep into those as well.
All right.
Sounds like fun.